go right out back of the airplane. The flaps are down, the power's back. He's doing about 42 miles an hour airspeed. Kind of squirrely winds right along the river here, but you see him leveling it out nicely, and then just bring it in easy, touch it down on the river, and coast to a stop right here next to us. Now he's going to go around the boat, so you'll see it on both sides. Then he will do a second to takeoff, I think. I'm not really sure about the second takeoff. He may be parking right up here ahead of us. In any event, we will have a chance to talk to him and find out more about the airplane, and then he will go around and let you look into the cockpit.
Going swimming and things like that.
Well, you know, it's still kind of brisk out there in some ways, David, but I want to talk to you about a really interesting wintertime activity that you and your daughter did, really in honor of your late wife. But it's just one of the greatest stories and tributes to Susan that I can think of right now. What did you do this winter?
Well, you know, my older daughter, Tekla, who is 11, was 11 at the time. She just turned 12 a few days ago. And I, as well as Alyssa, who's over there, and Molly, all took dog teams, and we went down the Yukon, the Chena and Yukon rivers, across the mountain range, onto the frozen Bering Sea, and on up to Nome. And while we did that, and Tekla was driving her own team of dogs, which is no small feat for a kid 11 to drive 700 miles. We traveled through all the native villages there, and in all of those villages were so many friends of Susan's, and you know, they came up and talked to Tekla and told her how much their mother had meant to them, and it was really really a growing experience, and to watch her confidence build as she went day after day, driving her own team many hours a day when it was 50 and so below zero. It was a remarkable trip, all in all, and something I don't think we'll ever forget.
Well, and really, in a way, I'm thinking of something that happened to Tekla there. I think it was in Yentna, or Nulato?
It was in Nulato, and it's very interesting because this, I have never ever seen this before, and it really is a tribute to the relationship that we have, or she has anyway, with the dogs, because we were going down a steep riverbank, all of us had fallen over. When Tekla fell over, the dogs, the handlebar slipped out of her hands, and the dogs took off down the trail down the river, and we thought we're going to be chasing those guys for 50 miles. But what happened is Tekla was on the ground there with her knees, on her knees, just beckoning, and the leaders went down the trail, and all of a sudden the team went down the trail. All of a sudden the leader looked back, saw Tekla, stopped the whole team, turned it around without getting tangled, and ran right back into her arms. And I have told that to so many mushers, and nobody has ever seen that happen before, so there was really a connection there that paid off. So I'm going to try and explain a little bit about what's going on. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this 12-dog team out. I want to tell you about the jobs they do. Now, the first 2 dogs in the team are called the lead dogs. And lead dogs are the most important because they listen for our verbal commands. As we go down the trail, there's forks in the trail, and the leaders either have to go right or left. If we say G, they go right. If we say Ha, they go left. Now, the dogs right behind know their commands just as well. They're called swing dogs, and swing dogs listen for that command and help swing the front end of the team down the right trail, which is incredibly important when you've got more dogs in the team, because you may be adding dogs strictly to get more power or more speed. Well, let's say I add 4 dogs to this team. That means that it's a 20-dog team. My leaders will be out through that fence over 100 feet in front of the sled. So you can imagine how much I rely on the leaders, how much power I have. And so when we have a sled and it's heavily loaded, it doesn't track quite right. So we need these 2 dogs in the end. These are called wheel dogs. And wheel dogs actually provide steering for it, because the nose of that sled wants to go straight forward. When we come to a corner, those dogs will jump to the other side of the line, pull the nose of the sled around, and we continue safely down the trail. Now, as you can see, today, I don't have a sled because it's summertime, so I've had to come up with another way of doing it. And we use a 4-wheeler, but I've made some modifications of this thing. If you look through here, there's no engine. Look at that, I don't need any more power. But what I do need And how I modified this is I've really reinforced the brakes. So in a second, my daughter Chena and I are going to go for a little run so you can see how it works. As a double safety here, what I have though is I've attached this with a heavy-duty climbing rope to make sure that if for some reason the dogs wanted to really get going, that will keep us securely in place like an emergency brake.
Well, you can see the enthusiasm. Imagine to give you that hit rod, there might be as many as several dozen teams and hundreds of dogs all get excited like this. And it's a kind of a pandemonium. Teams deciding and hooked up. They're going to bolt out of there. And you watch that thing take off. No roller required and just dog power. It's fascinating. And by the way, we're going to see them on the other side of the lake. Look way over there. You see that straight stretch of road? So watch for them over there. They can go to the left. Circle around, of course, we'll put what we can on camera for you, and then they will report to the side.
Good, yeah. That's amazing.
Now we have you
in mud flying up. We must be doing almost 20 miles an hour on the back stretch here. I love watching these dogs because they're working together as one unit, pulling equally, which means it makes it easy work for everybody if everybody works together. I'm going to give them a command and I'll see you when I get back. Cheat!
That G command, now listen, you've driven dogs and you've worked with these, and they'll come right back into the yard. Here they come, they've been behind the barn now. We lost them for a second there, but here they come now, right back in. Taking the left turn command, how about that? Shoshana got the driver right. How about that?
Thank you. That was quite a ride. These guys, it was amazing the power they have. And so, you know, after they've done a good job like this, it doesn't matter if they've run a mile or run 50 miles. You want to be able to go up to each dog and give them a little pat up and tell them they've done a good job, because we really work together as a trail. And of course, after you work, you like to have a little playtime, and that's what these guys are doing right now.
It looks like a bunch of athletes hitting the showers out there today. But about the speed, now what